blackmailing the boss, and a life lesson learned. My wife slammed the door, almost running into the kitchen from the garage. Max, my stupid boss told me I had to sleep with him or he would fire me. I glared at my beautiful wife, who was seething with anger, clearly wanting me to do something about her problem. I'd married Lois 5 years ago, having met her through her sister. Believe it or not, I was on a blind date with her sister Sydney when she told me I wasn't her type. But she would introduce me to her sister. She did as she promised, and everything has been great ever since. Lois, I'd ask if you're kidding, but you're too upset to joke. Max, this is serious. Honey, it's nothing. You don't even need this job. I love what I do. I don't want to lose my job. She worked as a veterinarian's assistant. She's an animal lover, and she has tons of dogs and cats and birds and everything else she can get her hands on. And I don't need to get pets I don't want. I'm happy with my 2 cats. She doesn't have to work because my family is wealthy, and I have a large trust fund that we live on. I also clerk for my Uncle John, who is a state Supreme Court judge. If Greg is being an asshole, just leave. You're pregnant, and I was hoping you'd be a stay-at-home mom. She should have talked to her boss, Greg, about going part-time after the baby was born. I guess he thought having sex with her would be the best idea. I know, but I like working. Standing up, I hugged her tightly and touched her belly. She wasn't showing much, being only 3 months pregnant, but I still enjoyed stroking her belly. She liked it too, and she let me have my fun. Let's calm down and think about this, okay? Kissing her, I took her by the hand and led her to the couch. It was the small office she worked in. There was no HR department to report him to, and suing the asshole would do nothing since there was no proof. But we had to do something. She fell asleep in my arms while we watched Chopped, but my thoughts were preoccupied with our problem. Dr. Gregg needed to be dealt with. I could have hired someone to punish him or break his arms or legs, but that didn't seem drastic enough. I wanted him to suffer. Nothing came to mind, so I carefully woke up the love of my life to take her to bed. Taking my pajamas out of the closet, I saw a box in it on the side that gave me an idea. Honey, I think you should sleep with Greg. What? She screamed, jumping up in bed. Yes, tomorrow night, and I'll have to watch. She looked at me like I had 2 heads, and that's when I told her my idea. The smirk that appeared on her face when we finished talking scared me, but I was determined to make it work. The next morning, I visited Dr. Gregg in his office. He wasn't very happy to see me, but I assured him that he would like what I had to say. Okay, Max, what can I do for you? He said as he closed his office door. Greg, I take it you want to have sex with my wife? He started to stutter something, but I held up my hand to silence him. I'm not here to punish you or anything. I'm all for it. Are you kidding me? Nonbada. Lois has fantasies she wants to fulfill, and so far I haven't been okay with it. I'll let her do it, but I have some conditions. He smirked. I'm listening. Good. First, it's tonight or nothing. Deal. Second, I'll be watching. That made him smile. You can watch, but I'll be saying nasty things to you while I have sex with her. I laughed. Sure. You can say anything that makes you happy to me while she's around you. Deal. Third, we'll record it so Lois and I can watch it afterward. I'll get a copy and you won't give it to anyone, he said quickly. Of course. We won't give it to anyone else. It's a deal. Good. One last thing. Lois will decide for herself if she wants to do this again. If she doesn't, you leave her alone. Max, as soon as we have sex, she'll be begging me to come back. Sure, Greg. Do we have a deal? He stood up and shook my hand. Oh, we have a deal, kook. With a laugh, I said, All right, man, I'll see you tonight. I'll even buy you my best whiskey. I saluted Lois as I stopped to kiss her goodbye. The deed was done. She gave me that evil grin again, and I wasn't sure I liked her. I left her and headed to the store. Later that night, I opened the door for Greg, and he immediately started trash talk. How about a whiskey, Cookie? Sure. Come on in my den. I poured us more of the expensive Macallan, and he drank it greedily. Lois is getting ready. You know how women are, I said, sipping the delicious golden liquid. He nodded and looked at the wall of pictures of me. Did you take these? He asked. Lois took most of them during our trips. You must be doing pretty well for yourself, Cook. You do a lot of traveling. I'm getting by. Honey, I'm ready, Lois called out. Well, I guess that's our cue, I said, calmer than I felt. Get the bottle, he demanded, and went upstairs to find my wife. I shook my head and took the bottle. I walked into the room and Lois was already undressing him. He couldn't take his eyes off her. She was wearing a black lace bra and panties, thigh-length stockings, and her most attractive high-heeled shoes. I tensed up as soon as I saw her. He did too, and I almost laughed at his average-sized dignity. I sat down on a chair in the corner and poured myself another drink. Lois said, Greg, I'm going to have sex with you like you've never had sex before. Ah, now you're talking, baby. Let's give Cookie Boy a show he won't forget. She smiled and gave me a big kiss before she said, I'm sure we'll all remember for a long time. I have a few fantasies, Greg, and you're going to fulfill some of them, okay? Anything you say, baby. He leaned in to kiss her, but she put her hand on his chest. Not yet, lover boy. Lie down. He sank down on the bed and she pulled out a bag from my day's shopping trip. I'm going to tie you to the bed, lover. He smirked. Wow. You're an interesting cheater, aren't you? I knew that pissed her off. She didn't like being called a cheater. She secured his wrists in restraints and fastened them securely to the bed. She picked up some thick pillows from the floor and placed them under his body. These are for a better angle, baby, she purred. I saw his body tense up. I almost laughed again. She buckled his ankles to the bed, leaving him under her control. She picked up the camera and brought it up to his face. Greg, do you want me to have sex with you? Yes, baby. Do it in front of your cuck husband. She put the camera back on the tripod and smiled at me. I'm going to blindfold you, baby, she said, running her finger over his dignity. It pissed me off and made me cringe, but she whispered silently, I'm sorry, and put the blindfold over his eyes. She pulled out the straps and inserted the sex toy I'd bought especially for Greg. I must have forgotten to tell him about it before I started. It didn't matter, though. He was going to get it from her. Lois had told me it was her fantasy to use a strap-on on me, but I'd never let her. Since then, she'd occasionally brought it up in jest, so I was glad she could finally get it out of her head. You ready, lover? Yeah, baby, get in. She smirked and used the toy on her boss. His scream was unreal when she used it. He thrashed around, shouting all sorts of swear words. She got tired of him thrashing around, so she grabbed him and said, Stop resisting or I will hurt you more with my hands. You told me I could have sex with you, now take it like a man. He stopped thrashing and said, I'll punish you both for this. Ah! He screamed as she sank to the bottom. Go away, you fool! He growled, grunting in what I assumed was pain, but maybe he liked it after all. That pissed her off. Never! And pounced on him. Tell me! She piled on even harder. Fool! She rammed into him with such force that she fell on top of him. She stood up and climbed out of bed. Disgusted, she unbuckled the straps and wiped the toy on his lips. He didn't like that. He spat at her but missed blindfolded and started yelling for us to let him go. She ignored him and went into our bathroom. When the shower turned on, I stopped the camera and took off his blindfold. I'm going to kill you, asshole. Shut up, asshole. You ain't gonna do nothing to me or my wife. That's what you get for being a stupid asshole. I swear to God, I picked up the slimy toy and shoved it into his open mouth. It silenced him for a second before he spit it out. Greg! 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 My wife clearly asked you on the video if you wanted her to have sex with you and you said yes. That's consent, buddy. I swear I'm going to... You're not going to do anything or I'm going to put that video online and send links to your entire family, edited, of course. He's gone soft. Just let me go, asshole. I opened the nightstand drawer and pulled out a gun. I'll let you go. You'll get dressed and walk away peacefully. You understand? Yeah, just let me go. Lois entered the room without her clothes on, and I handed her the gun. Here you go, sweetheart. If he does anything stupid, aim it at him. I let him go, and he cursed at us the whole time, but didn't try anything stupid. Stopping him at the front door, I said, "Asshole, just so you remember, I have the means to end your life and no one will ever find your body. You should chalk it up to a life lesson learned and not come after us. Do you understand?" "Got it. Just leave me alone." I opened the door for him, and on his way out, I said, "Hey, Greg, she's quitting." I laughed as I closed the door, and when I turned around, my wife was standing behind me in another set of underwear. "Honey, I want to make love to you so badly right now. I need you to take me upstairs so we can do it." I smiled and touched her breasts. "Just to be clear, love, I'm making love to you, aren't I?" I asked. She shrugged and headed up the stairs. The end! Subscribe to my channel. Thank you.